Assalamu alaikum. It's nice to see you again as we continue to bring the divine into the daily by understanding how we can incorporate the 99 names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala into our daily lives. The name that we're going to discuss today is Al-Qawwiy, which is the strong one or the strength. When we talk about strength in a relationship, oftentimes we'll reference the verse in the Quran that reminds us that الرجال قوامون على النساء, and we often equate that to the idea of the males in the relationship being stronger than the females, and that understanding of strength can sometimes lead to a misperception of what it means to be strong. When we talk about strength in terms of physical strength, without a doubt, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us differently in terms of our biology and in terms of the makeup of our physicality. And so there is often quite a difference in terms of physical strength between the male and the female. Yet exerting that strength in the form of domestic violence, exerting that strength in the form of misrepresenting the Quran and the Deen, exerting that strength in a way where there is no longer compassion and mercy in a relationship is not the right way of going about building the foundation for a strong marriage. Instead, when we talk about strength, we should talk about the strengths of each individual in the relationship, the strength of the wife and the strength of the husband, the strength of each child independently from a comparison to the siblings, because each person has their own strengths, and recognizing the beauty of that complementary relationship, whether it be between husband and wife or even in the interaction between siblings, helps us recognize the true amazing individual qualities of strengths that each person may have. And so when we begin to understand and accept the strengths of our spouse or the strengths of our children, we no longer harp upon the weaknesses. I would encourage each and every couple and each and every family to daily sit down in those moments of dhikr and think also of what it is you can be grateful for in terms of the strengths of your spouse and the strengths of your children, and to actually speak up about those strengths. So reminding your spouse, rather than saying something like, you don't really help out in the house, or you don't really help me take care of the children, or you don't dress in a certain way, or you don't cook certain food, rather than harping on weaknesses, instead turning it around and looking at strengths. That, I appreciate the strength that you bring to the family, or that you provide, in the fact that you are out working long hours every day in order to provide for the family. I appreciate the strength that you have as a spouse who keeps our house clean, who cares for our children, who makes sure that they are happy and content, even if you're not cooking a 5-star meal every evening. And when we begin to appreciate the strengths of others, a beautiful thing happens. There becomes a reciprocal appreciation. And in that reciprocal appreciation, we begin to recognize the beauty of ourselves. When we encourage a child, for example, and rather than telling a child, you're terrible at math, you did so bad on this test, or you're awful at soccer, instead, we encourage them by recognizing their strengths. So yes, maybe a grade on the math test was not what we would have liked, but what did they do well that week? Maybe they were kind to a friend. Maybe they helped someone out in need. Maybe they were respectful to a grown-up. Maybe they prayed all of their salah on time. These are the strengths that we should harp on, rather than consistently portraying the negative. And it doesn't mean that we can't constructively give advice sometimes to our loved ones, but we do need to lead in with that which is what is most beautiful and that which highlights the strength. And this is how we begin to understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as Al-Qawwiy is not just strength in terms of force, the way that we sometimes equate strength in our linguistic understanding of it, but it is a strength in terms of everything. And that's a strength that we sometimes need to look for within ourselves and our family members as well. Jazakumullahu khair, and I look forward to speaking to you again as we continue to bring the divine into the daily. Assalamu alaikum.